The first time I realized my life had become controlled by notifications was on a quiet Tuesday morning, or at least it should have been quiet. I woke to the familiar vibration of my phone, three rapid buzzes that had become as common as breathing. Half awake, I reached for it, expecting something important. It was a discount alert from an app I didn't even remember installing. That moment summarized my entire existence, constantly reacting, rarely reflecting. I used to laugh when people said their phones were controlling them, but somewhere along the way, the subtle pull of notifications stopped being amusing and began shaping my daily mood. Every buzz demanded attention. Every ping whispered urgency. Every badge icon felt like an unfinished task silently judging me. I wasn't living, I was responding. By noon, my watch had vibrated 11 times, my laptop had flashed 5 message banners, and my phone had delivered a rapid-fire stream of updates, likes, comments, reminders, and invitations. None of them were life-changing. Most weren't even relevant. Yet each one chipped away at my peace. I told myself I was staying connected, but I wasn't connecting. I was drowning. That's when the burnout began. The constant stimulation made it hard to focus. My mind jumped from thought to thought like a browser with 40 tabs open. Even in moments of silence, I felt phantom vibrations as if my body had been trained to expect disruption. So, one evening, when the sunset painted my apartment in soft orange, I made a decision. Not a dramatic digital detox or a total disconnection, just a simple experiment. I turned off all notifications for 24 hours. At first, the silence felt wrong, too empty, too unnatural. I kept checking my phone automatically, fingers twitching with muscle memory. No new messages, no icons, no vibrations. My brain insisted something must be broken, but after an hour, I noticed something I hadn't felt in months: breathing space. I sat on the balcony with a cup of tea and for once didn't feel the urge to record or share the moment. The breeze brushed against my skin, cool and real. The hum of traffic sounded softer. The world felt slower, as if time had finally remembered how to walk instead of sprint. My mind, usually overcrowded with fragments of information, began to settle. Thoughts came gently instead of crashing in like waves. It felt unfamiliar, almost fragile. Later that night, I decided to take a walk without earbuds or music. Just me, my footsteps, and the quiet hum of the neighborhood. I noticed little details I usually rushed past. The way the streetlight flickered at the corner, how the air smelled faintly of night jasmine, the rhythm of my own breathing. For the first time, I felt present. When I got home, I didn't immediately reach for my devices. Instead, I sat on the floor, stretched, and let the calm linger. It felt like rediscovering a part of myself buried under years of digital noise. But the true test came the next morning. I woke up naturally, without an alarm or vibrating phone. Sunlight filtered into my room gently, not competing with glowing screens or urgent alerts. For a moment, I simply lay there, listening to the silence, and that silence felt like freedom. Of course, the world hadn't changed overnight. I still had responsibilities, messages waiting, tasks to complete. But something inside me shifted. I realized serenity wasn't a destination. It was a choice, a series of small, intentional moments carved out of the chaos. That first day taught me something important. Notifications weren't the problem. My relationship with them was. I didn't need to disconnect from life to find peace. I just needed to reconnect with myself. After the 24-hour experiment, I didn't rush to turn all the notifications back on. Instead, I approached them the way one might approach a noisy neighbor, cautiously, with boundaries. I enabled only the essentials. Messages from family, work emails during office hours, and reminders I genuinely needed. Everything else stayed off. No more social media pings. No more "your order is arriving in 3 days" alerts. No more apps begging for attention like impatient children. The difference was immediate. My mornings transformed first. Without the chaotic symphony of notifications, waking up became gentle again. I started by opening the curtains, feeling the sunlight, and grounding myself in the quiet. I made breakfast without checking my phone. The silence became a friend, steady, comforting, patient. Then my mindset changed. Without constant digital interruptions, I could focus on single tasks for longer periods. Conversations with others felt deeper. Walks outside became more vivid. Even simple chores like washing dishes began to feel meditative instead of rushed. There was a new clarity in my thoughts, as if a fog had slowly lifted. But it wasn't all effortless peace. There were moments when the urge to check my phone returned, especially when boredom crept in. Modern life trains us to fill every empty second with stimulation. Waiting in line, riding the elevator, sitting alone for a few minutes. These moments used to feel unbearable without a screen. Now I let them exist. I breathed through them. I paid attention. I let my mind wander naturally. And in those quiet spaces, new ideas appeared. Creative thoughts, reflections, forgotten memories. My brain finally had room to stretch again. Ironically, by stepping back from constant connection, I started feeling more connected to the world. I made eye contact with people. I noticed the colors of the sky each evening. I paused to admire things I used to hurry past. Serenity wasn't loud. It whispered. It lived in the pauses between the noise. Weeks passed, and something unexpected happened. My phone became just a tool, not a master. I no longer felt anxious when it stayed silent. I no longer worried about missing out. I no longer shaped my mood around the endless stream of digital chatter. Instead, I shaped my days intentionally. I set times to check messages. I created small rituals, morning tea, evening walks, quiet moments of reflection. I learned to listen to my thoughts again. One night, sitting on my balcony with the city lights flickering below, I realized something profound. In a world full of constant notifications, serenity is not found by escaping the world, but by choosing which parts of it you allow into your mind. Peace isn't the absence of technology, it's the presence of control. I still live in a connected world. I still use my devices. I still receive messages. But now, every notification that comes through is something I chose, not something that chose me. And in that choice, I found serenity, quiet, steady, and beautifully human. As the days passed, my new relationship with silence deepened in ways I hadn't expected. What started as a simple change in notification settings slowly began reshaping every corner of my life. The less noise I allowed in, the more clearly I started to see the areas of my life that had been running on autopilot. For years, I believed productivity meant being constantly available. I thought fast responses made me responsible. I assumed staying online made me informed. But when the digital noise faded, I discovered a quieter truth. Productivity wasn't about speed. It was about clarity. With fewer interruptions, my work changed first. I found myself entering long, focused stretches where tasks that normally took hours suddenly felt natural and fluid. I wasn't chasing deadlines anymore. I was flowing through them. Even my breaks felt different. Instead of scrolling endlessly, I walked to the window, stretched, or simply closed my eyes and breathed. These tiny pauses were like small pockets of restoration hidden throughout the day. But the most surprising shift came in my personal relationships. Without the constant itching urge to check my phone, my conversations became richer. I noticed emotions in people's voices I had previously missed. I made space to actually listen rather than wait for my turn to speak. I found myself remembering details, showing deeper empathy, and feeling more grounded in every interaction. One evening, I met a close friend for coffee. Usually, our catch-ups were filled with multitasking, her checking emails, me replying to messages, both of us half present. But this time, my phone stayed in my bag. I didn't feel compelled to touch it, not even once. She noticed immediately. "You seem different," she said, stirring her iced latte. "Calmer, like your mind is actually here." I smiled, realizing she was right. I wasn't thinking about who might be messaging me. I wasn't waiting for the next update or buzzing alert. I was fully immersed in the warmth of the cafe lights, the softness of the music, and the familiarity of her laughter. That moment felt like a rediscovery of something I had forgotten existed. Later that night, walking home beneath the glow of street lamps, I understood something profound. Serenity didn't just improve my internal world, it changed the way I existed externally too. I moved slower, noticed more, appreciated more. The world wasn't rushing past me anymore. I was walking through it, step by steady step. But serenity also came with challenges. There were days when the itch returned, the desire to check, to scroll, to drown out boredom with endless feeds. Old habits didn't disappear overnight. Some mornings, I caught myself reaching for my phone before my eyes were even open. Some nights the urge to check for updates felt overwhelming. Yet each time I reminded myself why I started this journey. Not to escape technology, but to reclaim my attention. Not to disconnect from others, but to reconnect with myself. Slowly, I created new habits. I set a rule: no screens for the first hour after waking and the last hour before bed. I created a quiet corner in my apartment, a small space with soft pillows, a candle, and a journal. Whenever life felt overwhelming, I retreated there, letting the silence wash over me. I realized that serenity wasn't a one-time achievement. It was something I had to cultivate, protect, and nurture. And most importantly, it was something I had to choose again and again. The real turning point arrived one Saturday morning when the world outside buzzed with its usual chaos. Cars honking, people rushing, notifications lighting up screens everywhere. But inside my apartment, something unusual filled the air: stillness. I sat on the floor with a warm cup of tea, watching sunlight spill gently across the room. It wasn't that life had become easier or problems had vanished. Far from it. The difference was internal. The part of me that used to leap anxiously toward every sound or alert felt settled. Peace had taken root. Later that day, I visited a nearby park. It used to be a place where I walked while scrolling through my phone, barely noticing the trees or the sky. But this time, I left my device tucked away. No earbuds, no distractions, just the world and its quiet, natural rhythm. Children played near the fountain, birds hopped between branches, and the wind rustled through leaves in a soft whisper. I sat on a bench and simply observed. Each passing moment felt like a gentle reminder that serenity wasn't something to search for. It was something always present, waiting to be noticed. As I breathed deeply, an idea struck me. I hadn't just reduced my notifications. I had changed my internal notification system, the one in my mind constantly buzzing with worry, comparison, and noise. Now, I gave myself permission to slow down, to stop rushing, to feel life instead of constantly documenting it. In the following weeks, I began creating pockets of intentional quiet throughout my routine. A slow walk after lunch, a few moments of stillness before starting work, deep breaths before replying to messages. Each small action became a thread woven into a much larger tapestry of peace. One evening, I decided to do something symbolic. I rearranged my home screen. I removed the apps that demanded attention and filled the space with ones that inspired stillness. Journaling, meditation, music, books. It felt like reshaping the architecture of my inner world. The more I embraced this life, the more I noticed others around me struggling. Everywhere I looked, people stared at screens with glazed eyes, flinching at vibrations, juggling endless streams of digital noise. I saw a version of myself from not long ago, tired, stretched thin. Always on, and I wished I could tell them what I had learned. That serenity is not found in running away from the world. It is found in choosing how deeply the world is allowed to enter your mind. One night, as I sat by my window watching the city lights blink like distant stars, I reflected on my journey. At first, my goal had been simple: escape exhaustion. But somewhere along the way, something deeper unfolded. I didn't just gain peace, I gained presence. I didn't just silence notifications, I amplified awareness. I didn't just avoid distraction, I rediscovered meaning. The world was still loud, chaotic, and ever connected, but I no longer felt trapped inside its noise. I had learned how to step outside, breathe, and return with clarity instead of overwhelm. And in that clarity, I found something priceless, myself.